Hey guys, Chris the Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to part 33 of the Great Cleanup. This video was going to be a scrap run. So when's a scrap run not a scrap run? Well, when circumstances change and you have to make rational decisions. We're running out of time, so I need to be efficient. I need to make the right decisions. I need to not try and do every little thing that I was planning to do. So this was going to be a scrap run to Melbourne. We'd loaded the van with pressing steel, and I'll shortly cut to the introduction and the clips of loading, which I did about 10 days ago, which was pre-shoulder injury. My shoulder's still pretty sore. I still can't use it a lot, so it's very, very slow in recovering. I'm still able to do a lot, but that makes up part of the decision why we've changed this to not a scrap run. What we're going to do is take this pressing steel out to the transfer station. It's already loaded in the van, as you'll see shortly. But given the fact that my shoulder has hindered me, and I would need to take someone with me, I think, to load the steel into the bins down in the yard. I don't really have the luxury of another 2/3 of a day out of productivity in my yard because there's so few days left. There's 19 days, if I didn't mention. We have 19 days left by the time you see this, which will be on the Tuesday. I'm filming it Monday. So the fact that just a tick, I've got to get Coco's ball. It's okay, Christine's come to save the day. She's going to get Coco's ball under there for her.
I have to bend down?
Yes, you do. So, where we're up to, a couple of factors that have changed my strategy. I think it's up under here somewhere. My shoulder has limited what I can do over the last week, so my productivity hasn't been what it should have been. As I said, I'll probably have trouble. I would have had trouble unloading down at the scrapyard, whereas at the transfer station I can just roll it out the back of the van. The other thing is the price of pressing steel has dropped. So it's now under 30 cents a kilo or 300 a tonne. I think it's about 280. When I was first planning to take it all down, it was at 350. Now, given that I can only get about 1,200 kilos or so in the van, that means that there's a lot of volume going to Melbourne from not much return. Find the ball?
I need a stick.
So those things have made me decide that I'm not going to... Look, if someone came up to me and said, here's $300, take out 2/3 of your day and go to Melbourne, even though I was going to top it up with copper, I wouldn't do it. That $300 doesn't mean enough to me at the moment. The time is more important. So without any further ado, here's the earlier clip of me loading the van, and then I'll come back to you after you've seen that. I'm going to load it up today because we're away for the next 3 days. By the time you see this, we will be back, and I want to have the van ready to go on Tuesday because Monday is a holiday. So if I load up most of the pressing steel now, then I can just throw some copper in to finish the load off before we go next week. So I've got the van just out around the corner. There's a reason for that. Come with me and I'll show you. Now, a lot of this pressing steel over the years I've packed into old dryer bodies and any other large receptacle, like there's an old stove there. And I've also got a lot of drums here with some of the lighter stuff that came out of the 44s when I was packing the heavy steel. And some of these dryer bodies weigh about 80 to 90 kilos. So I can't get them up the ramp if the ramp's too steep. So I'm fortunate that there's a little bit of a lower area in the nature strip here, and there's a concrete access pit. I think it's either for sewerage or it might be even communications. I'm not sure. It's an old pit, but it gives me a really good base, and it lowers the angle of the ramp, so I should be able to trolley these up into the van, and we'll load Kathy up with another good load around about 1,500 kilos. My plan at this stage is I reckon I'll go for about 1,300 kilos, maybe a little bit more, 1,350 of all this pressing steel, which should make a fair dent in it. And then we can just top off with probably only 150 odd kilos of copper, which will be a good paying amount, and that should give us close to $2,000 for the trip. All right, I better start loading. It's beautiful, cool conditions, and hopefully the showers hold off. All right, quick break for lunch. I've got 735 kilos in here, and it hasn't taken up very much space. So I do pack all the containers pretty solidly. Look out for the Ultimate Recycler at the next Olympic Tetris trials. I think I'm doing pretty good there. So we're going to have plenty of room still. I might finish off, well, I'm only a bit over halfway. I'll get rid of some of these drums shortly. We'll clean up a good part of this side fence. And I think because we've got plenty of room and the copper takes up very little room, I'll get rid of some of these larger things. And yeah, we're aiming for around about 1350 kilos of pressing steel, give or take 50 kilos. Finished loading now. My estimate is 1355. However, that could be as low as 1200 and as high as 1450 because I had that many phone calls and people wanting to chat to me and I kept losing count. But I think I'm fairly close. The tyres look okay. We have plenty of room left, but I'm not going to jam any more in because I don't want to be too heavy. What's the lane look like? Well, this side's pretty much done. There's a little bit of pipe in the corner there, a few drums there, not a lot of weight in those drums, and we don't have many dryer bodies left, and that's where a lot of the weight was. And then once we get to this pile, then we have a bit of cast aluminium onwards, so easily clean that up next trip. There are some pieces over here, more panels off washing machines. They will add up to a fair bit of weight. And then there's just some flat pieces from around the yard that I've been stacking against there. I was going to throw them on this trip, but I reckon I've got enough weight on now. There's also this large washing machine body that actually has a bottom in it. All the other ones that didn't have bottoms I actually took to the transfer station, but this will make a good loading tub for other pressing steel. So there's a little bit more around the yard, but I think we'll see how we go with this trip. Hopefully the price hasn't dropped, but we've reduced a lot of quantity there. So maybe there's one more load of pressing steel to clean all that up. I should have enough copper to supplement both loads. I've got to finish up now. We're heading off to Melbourne this afternoon, so I've done all the hard work. We can load the copper early next week just before we go, and then do that next scrap trip. So I'm looking forward to a weekend off mentally anyway, not so much physically. So guys, as you can see, the weekend was more physically demanding than any of us had planned. You know, the Tuesday directly following, obviously we couldn't do a scrap run. The van sat loaded for the entire week, and then when I got the new price list yesterday, which meant I had to change my plans because I was going to go tomorrow being the following Tuesday. So alright, let's take the load out to the transfer station and we'll unload it. And here we go at the transfer station. Christine's just browsing what we could possibly put back in the van. No, we're not allowed to take anything back.
Except me.
So we've just dropped it all off out here. Bit of a shame, but you know, that's what we've got to do. So the van's empty and I can go back and actually load up the rest of the pressing steel out of the lane to get rid of it quickly. So that's what we're up to now. So let's finish this video up here. We have a little bit of pressing steel left along the fence here, probably one more load, and given that I don't have to take it to Melbourne now, that's kind of a relief. You know, yes, we're missing out a little bit of money, but as I explained earlier, the time at this stage is more important. I do need to have this lane accessible for a truck to pick up the container in a few days, so it's going to assist there. I can then make decisions on any of these old drums with holes in them or anything like that, and just take them all out of the transfer station, be done with them quickly. It'll be a very cleansing exercise. It should make a lot more space very quickly. So we'll wind this video up. Thanks for watching. This was a scrap run that wasn't a scrap run. We will still do another scrap run. I may even carry it over until after D-Day. I can stack the copper at home in the carport just very short term, and then our next load will be a good paying trip because there's no more steel to go. I was pleased to get my 500 a tonne for the heavy steel because they're not paying that now. That's pulled right back. Copper's dropped back a little bit as well, but and I think the wire has as well. Stainless steel might have dropped a lot. So be it. I've just got to cash it in. I'm not going to stack stuff at home. So next video after this one, I've called this one of the great cleanup series. I think I mentioned at the start, part 33. As we're talking, or as you see this on Tuesday, there will be 19 days to go. I think we got to. It's pretty hard to keep up. It's all happening so quickly. Next video, we'll continue to empty the shipping container because that has to be done in a day or two. It's being picked up later this week. We also are going to throw in a quick composting video just to finish up on an experiment I did. So there's plenty of videos coming soon. Hope you enjoy them all, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.